Dragonborn. Strange reptilian humanoids, possibly shaped by the gods, possibly weird mutations of dragons, or perhaps the children of a brave adventurer and an interested dragon. No one's really too sure where they came from, but they're pretty new in the D&D universe. And with Fizban's coming out, they've released a whole new world of possibilities for these Dragonborn. So today, when we're talking about the differences between the base Dragonborn in 5th edition and the new Dragonborn in Fizban's. Because they, for possibly the first time, have really altered a race in Dungeons & Dragons. I can't think of another race that they've just gone and changed a core feature. They didn't remove anything, but they've just gone and altered a core feature to make them a bit stronger. But anyways, Dragonborn stand tall, stand proud. These strong warriors usually are very devoted to their ancestors, which in 5th edition until now was just chromatic and metallic. You had your chromatic ones, the black, blue, green, red, and white, and the metallic, brass, bronze, copper, gold, silver. And with Fizban's, they've changed a lot. First of all, now you have your ability score increased to whatever you want. You don't have to just put it into, what was it, strength, I believe? Strength and constitution, I believe. Strength and charisma. So, yeah, yeah, now you can put your +2 and +1 to whatever you want. Languages, common, whatever you want. Draconic's usually the go-to for, Dragonborn. You don't have to choose it, but they have changed a core feature of the Dragonborn, which was the breath weapon. They've thankfully broken it down in Fizban's, because it's oh yeah, the chromatic and the metallic are very different. Let's break it down, let's show them off to each person, instead of let's put them all together. Because now they've also added gem dragons. It's pretty awesome, and I'm excited to get to those later, but in Player's Handbook, the core rulebook, you have your breath weapon, which is either a cone or a line, and does some d6 for damage. In Fizban's, it's just a line, but does a bit more damage. Actually, is it just a line? Let me check as I'm just rambling on about this. Oh, that is bizarre. Okay. So, in Fizban's, they've replaced it in a sense. So, in the Player's Handbook, some random ones were given lines, some random ones were given cones. In Fizban's, chromatic have lines, the others have cones. Why is that? I don't know. I mean, I guess it's nice that it's kind of broken down and separated, but it's kind of weird. Oh well. The biggest change, even bigger than that though, what's really cool is the breath weapon doesn't suck as much. Or I mean, I don't know if it's good at higher levels. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty solid. And why is that? Well, in the Player's Handbook, you used your action to your breath weapon, and you can do that once per rest. That's it. And it does a couple d6. So, I mean, it's an okay ability, but once you get to, I'm gonna zoom in a bit. So, it's an okay ability, but once you're at 11th level, 16th level, doing 4d6 or 5d6, even 3d6 at 6th level, depending on what class you are, that's not a lot. To use your whole action to do that? Eh? As a fighter, you could be doing 46 plus your modifiers. Actually, as any martial class, you'd be doing the more or less 46. You could use another weapon, but as an example, you could be doing 46 because you have multiple attacks. As a spellcaster, you could be doing 4 or 5 d6 with the spell. And it just scales a lot more than what they let you have. Because you just get 1 more d6 every few levels. But in Fizban's, what's super cool is it's d10s. No longer d6s, it's d10s. So, what does this mean? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. So, So, I pulled up a site, and I'm going to compare what the difference is between the old Dragonborn and the new Dragonborn, because it's pretty crazy what happens. First level, when you get your first breath weapon, in the player's handbook, when you first get your breath weapon, you get to do 2d6 damage. And in Fizban's, when you get it, you deal 1d10 damage. So, let's calculate. Let's see what the average is. Player's handbook, as you can see, you're likely to be a little bit stronger. You're more likely to get 6 to 8 damage with the 2d6 than you are. So you're more likely to get middle, which is pretty solid. 1d10, you have an even chance of getting anything. But there's a downside of you can get 1, and also you don't get as much of a height. So at first level, it's not as good. And, it's not a strong start for these new Dragonborn. They're supposed to be stronger. They're supposed to make people want to play Dragonborn again, because not a lot of people have been playing the Dragonborn. Okay, well, what happens then at... Wait a second. This is fascinating. I'm going to slide this back in here. So the next damage buff is at 6th level. 3d6. But in Fizban's, it happens at 5th level. Fascinating. And what's this too? You use your breath weapon equal to number of times to your proficiency bonus. So you're no longer a short rest monster, but you get a lot more uses out of the day. Starting off with just 2, but then you get 3, 4, 5, 6 uses of long rest. Because not a lot of people play with 6 short rests a day. So, okay, you're not doing as much damage right away. But you do this twice per long rest as opposed to once per short rest. And since a lot of people did 1 encounter a day, sometimes it's ended up being 1 per long rest. So, okay, it's pretty decent. And then 2d10 at 5th level. Well, now we're at level 5. The damage is a lot stronger now. But okay, we'll give a fair comparison here. So 3d6. Now we're level 6. 3d6. Okay. Now you can see what's starting to happen. Yeah, you still get a possibility of getting to 2, but you also now have a higher ceiling. You're now, you're now more likely to get 10 to 12 as opposed to 10 or 11. So, it's a bit of a buff. It's not that good yet. And at this point, too, you would have 3 uses versus 1 use per long rest. So this 11 damage, like, not that much more. This 11 damage on average is pretty pathetic, but you're doing this 3 times as opposed to 1 to 6 times, and usually 1 to 3 times. So getting a bit more consistency out of this. Alright. What's next? 11th level and 11th level. Okay, 3d10 and 4d6. Honestly, this is just also for me, so just because it's fascinating. So, 4d6, you're pretty much guaranteed a 13 to 15. It drops off pretty quickly. With the 3d10, your average is looking to be about 15 to 17. So you go from a 14 average to a 16.5 average. It's pretty solid. In this point, you're getting 4. You're getting 5 uses out of it every rest. And that's pretty solid amount of damage more. And now let's 17th level for fun. Okay, 5d6 at 16th level. So we'll do this first. Okay, 16th level, they're a little bit stronger. Just a little bit. Like a 1 damage point. Yeah, that's decently stronger. 17th level, 4d10. Oh, also, just for comparison, the ceilings, the floors. Yeah. That one last d10 blows it away. Going from an average of 17.5 to 22, that's a 4.5 buff. And with the maximum of, with 10 point higher maximum for a 1 point lower minimum, like, it's a lot stronger at the end. It's overall a slight boost pretty much the whole time. So I like it. It also gives you a chance to use more d10s because d10s are not used that much. Also, I forgot to mention this. Which makes this so much stronger than the original player's handbook. In the original player handbook, you use your action. So your one action to do 4d6 or 5d6 or 2d6. Not that great. As I said, you're a fighter. You got 5 attacks. You could be doing 10d6 damage plus your dexterity plus whatever else you have. This, it replaces one of your attacks, which means if you're a fighter, attack, breath weapon, attack, which is what I wanted to do when I last played a Dragonborn, because that seemed like a cool idea, but I haven't played a Dragonborn in a while, and they just weren't great as a fighter. They were fun druid, but I mean, they weren't a great fighter. But this gives them the ability to be a martial and use their abilities pretty well. Because if you're a spellcaster, really, the breath weapon, Doesn't matter if you choose Player's Handbook, Fizban's Treasury, it doesn't matter which one. Because it's your action to do it either way. But if you're a fighter, or a paladin, or a barbarian, which you get 2 points in strength, or at least you used to, but they were sort of built around being the sort of martial class. And this was the thing that they needed, was the ability to attack, breath weapon, attack. Or attack, breath weapon, or whatever, because that's just such a cool thing. To just smash your enemies and then blow them up and then keep hitting them. It is so cool. So that, yeah. It's amazing. It's awesome. It's fantastic. The fact that it replaces an attack instead of using your whole action, it's just so good. And I love it so much. There is also a new ability which buffs them even more, yeah. They all have Draconic Warding at 5th level. At 5th level, you become immune to the energy type, and I'm pretty sure that is the same with all of them. No, gems have something different. Metallics have something different also. So they've taken this one race, this pretty standard basic race. Also, you can still see the stats, that's fine. They've taken this standard basic race and they've diversified it a lot. I honestly would have been okay with something like this. Just chromatic warding for all of them and being like, yeah, that's a cool new ability. But no, they went and made new features for each sub-race. I know, Gems, we keep passing over you. I'm going to get to you in a second. But not yet. So, Metallic, same idea all the way through. Breath weapon damage is the same, your ancestry is the same, your resistance is the same, but Metallic breath weapon at 5th level, a second breath weapon, you can replace one of your attacks with the 15-foot cone, and you can make them incapacitated, or you can push people away. Repulsive breath is okay. Generally it's not super useful. If you're a spellcaster, this repulsion breath is a lifesaver. However, incapacitated is usually just better if in most situations. If you're trying to shove someone off a bridge, for example, then yeah, repulsion's great. You can use it in tandem with if you're like a warlock, you have Eldritch Blast. No, Eldritch Blast, you just do one and then, yeah. But, you have that sort of thing where you can push people away, it gives you a little bit of variety, it's pretty cool. Incapacitated, really solid, because if a bunch of enemies are swarming you down, and you incapacitate half of them, oh, it's over for them. It's just over. I'm going to real quick. Incapacitated, you can't take actions or reactions, so if you're getting swarmed by enemies, you let out a breath weapon, you can back up. Or you can stay in the fray and use this as an opportunity to just dish out damage, and not worry about being attacked, while they're incapacitated till the start of your next turn. Pretty solid. Now, for the babies that we've all been waiting for, Gem Dragonborn, which is just awesome. They are just awesome, and yeah, they're fantastic. So with the Gem Dragonborn, with the metallics and the chromatics, you have a lot of the basic elements going on. You've got the acid, lightning, poison, fire, cold. Fire, lightning, acid, poison, cold, lightning, yeah. And, pretty good, pretty standard stuff. But with the Gem Dragons, you get the freaky stuff. You get the Force, the Radiant, the Psychic, the Thunder, and the Necrotic. And the thing I like about the Dragonborn is the natural balance that they have in them. So, for example, just as an example, the Red Dragonborn do fire damage. A lot of things are resistant to fire, but a lot of things do fire damage. So if you take the common damage type, you'll be resisting a lot more. You'll also be doing a lot less damage. But if you went with something a bit more obscure, like green, or in this case, one of these Gem Dragons, you're more likely to get your damage off more often, but you're not going to be able to use your resistance as much, and that's just a cool natural balance I've always loved in the Dragonborn. Because, yeah, almost nothing does force damage. So being resistant to force damage is pretty pointless, but doing force damage, almost nothing is resistant to force damage. So it's a pretty solid trade-off, depending on how extreme you want to go into the defensive or the offensive on a purely mechanical standpoint. But what else is super cool is the gem ones have psionic mind. Just being able to speak to anyone telepathically is a huge boon. Sure, the limit's 30 feet. You don't need to see them. You don't need to share language. They don't need to. You could have 30 feet of concrete in between you guys. They could be on a floor above you, floor below you. It doesn't matter. 30 feet of telepathy is amazing. And then Gem Flight. You have fly speed, which is really good. It's only for a minute, but that's enough to pretty much remove an account. Like that's enough for on a counter. You need to cross spike traps, wings. You need to fly over bad guys, or you need to get around bad guys. Wings. Wings are just great. You get them at 5th level, get them for a minute, pretty solid. And that's pretty much everything about the Dragonborn that I wanted to just discuss. Is that they've added some new Dragonborn, and I love the new Dragonborn a lot. They're a little bit stronger with damage. Overall, the damage is alright. I like that it's changed to D10 now, just because it's nice being able to use your other dice. I love the new minor abilities that they get because it gives them a slight boon. I love the Gem Dragonborn because more Dragonborn options is more good. As a DM, honestly, I would be okay with allowing some mix and match. If you wanted to be Metallic Dragonborn with the line, if you wanted to be Chromatic Dragonborn with the cone, if one of the player's handbook let you have a cone or a line and this one doesn't, I'm okay with saying you can just use the one, you can just use that. I don't care that much, but yeah, it's just super good. I'm actually kind of upset that they released Awesome Dragonborn because my backup character was going to be a turtle. But now the Dragonborn are looking pretty solid, so I don't know if I have a backup character, what I'm going to play. I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about this. Overall, Fizban has been a promising book so far. I definitely recommend picking it up. And big fan of the Dragonborns. Would definitely recommend, if you're a Dragonborn fan, it's a must-have. Get this book. Get the cool new abilities. Check out the cool new options. It's just worth it. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to tell me what you guys thought in the comments down below. Do you guys like the new damage dice? Do you guys like the new abilities? Do you think the Dragonborn are kind of OP now? Yeah, just let me know what you guys think. This is Archon Ultra and sign off, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.